All right, everybody, welcome back to Rubbin' Dirt. We got Mr. and Miss Stahl, Brad and Katie Stahl, husband-wife team. You know, that's what was unique to this, is you both finished up there. So I've been looking forward to doing this. Even my fiance was curious about it. So, you know, obviously in the North, Brad, you finished fifth, and Katie, you finished sixth. But then when we look back to the Nationals, Brad gets third, and Katie, you came in at ninth. You know, the first question, I know I've probably been over a lot of these questions with Brad, but Katie, it's going to be new for you. So, this is my second interview with Brad. For those of you who don't know, the first interview didn't quite go the way I wanted it to because of our audio equipment failures. But why did you both choose this class particularly to run?
Mostly it was just at the time it was the most affordable class and kind of less stressful of a class just to have fun with. So we figured doing it this class here, you didn't have to put as much time and energy into everything like the hobbies and the BMOD drivers do. So we just chose this class. It's kind of a easy way for us to kind of just unwind and relax.
Now, I know I asked you this question, Brad, but I want to get Katie's perspective on this one. How did you get into racing?
I have grown up, my dad raced a car, and we were going to the races every Friday, Saturday, even Sunday night, and he would do 40, 50 nights a season, so I was always going to the races, and I just always wanted to be involved and drive, but I never thought that would happen. You go graduate high school and go to college, and then you kind of forget about it. And then after we were married, Brad bought me a race car, and I wasn't expecting it. So then it just kind of started from there.
All right. Now, I know I asked this question once, and I'm going to ask it again. With the rules, I've heard both sides of this now. With the rules being lenient and the rules needing a little bit of adjustment, how do you both feel are the rules and how they sit? Do you feel as though it's a little biased, or do you feel it's more or less fair?
I think it's a little bit more biased on some of the rules. They kind of, restrict us with our camber rule, and arguing with the guys down at Nationals when we were down there, it was like, the 2 degrees, especially for us that have, rely on our, the front wheel drive vehicles, it's kind of unfair where, the other classes can go a lot more, and it's like, hey, we're running OEM rims and tires, and it's like, this is kind of a, difficult way for us to do it. I mean, unless you're going to spend a lot more money on the racing rims.
Well, I think it's kind of regionally, like we do stuff way different up here than down south too. Like we kind of have our things that they're a little bit more lenient up here with, and down there they have stuff they're more lenient with. So it's not, I don't feel like USRA rules are kind of like really across the board like the same.
Don't worry, I'm not USRA affiliated. You don't have to be nervous, and we can joke. I know a lot of people, they didn't expect to be interviewed, so probably caught you both off guard a little bit when I reached out. But would
just
you
happy to have someone reach out and want to talk to us?
Would you guys say you two are each other's biggest rival or competitor out there on the track?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very competitive.
Yeah, it's unique.
you're leaving the same house with your biggest competition, but one of you's going to be driving in a separate vehicle on the way home.
Yeah, she pulls her car to the track with her truck, and I pull mine with ours, or my truck. So it gives you a little bit of time to kind of think about some fancy things, and hopefully you get a good draw number and stuff like that, or how to do stuff. But then once we're at the track, it's usually we're kind of just hanging together in the trailer, just chilling, waiting for lineups to be posted and heats and everything else.
So now, has there ever been a time, Katie, that you felt as though Brad raced you a little bit wrong, so you let him sleep on the couch that night?
No, he's pretty good. There was this one time, it was at Fayette County this year. Somebody ran into Brad, and then they ran into me, and we ended up in turn 4 just kind of looking at each other. I was spun into him. I had to back up to get out of his car, and we were just staring at each other. We didn't know what to do because it's never happened before, and you can just see on my GoPro I'm voicing, I am so sorry.
Yeah, the whole time we were sitting there tangled together, we were both thinking the same thing, as which one of us was going to be the first one to flip the other person off, but no one did it.
No, you guys have been racing together for a while, and obviously, being a husband-wife team and constantly having that tight net can build between each other, what would you say is the best part about being a husband and wife team?
I think it's I'd say the best thing would probably be is just knowing that, we can actually beat up on each other, and we don't have the cops ever going to come pick us up and take us to jail.
Well, for me, I just like it because I know Brad's going to tell me the truth. Like, did I look bad out there, if I'm in a different heat, or do you think I should do this different? He's going to give me his honest opinion.
Now, sometimes does honesty, rub off a little wrong, and you're like, okay, I'll show you then?
Yeah, I don't really want to hear it sometimes, but he's honest.
Now, what would you guys say your favorite track is to race on?
I gotta say mine's gotta be Decorah.
Decorah.
Now, why both of you Decorah?
I just, ever since we've raced there, and even when we've gone race, I think Decorah is basically the only racetrack out there that actually, at intermission, when they have their intermission, they actually bring the grader out, regrade the track, try to give, all the classes at least more than just a one-lane track to race on. And Zach and Chuck Eady, they do a phenomenal job working the track and trying to get us in and making it as fast as we can. And I just think, hands down to them guys. And even West Union, I know they don't do a lot of the grading at intermission, but they do take care of their track just as well. But with Decorah, just having the fresh surface, to race on for the feature, it just kind of gives you a little bit more knowledge thinking, knowing that it's going to be more than just a one-lane track for us.
And what about you, Katie?
Ever since my dad raced it, and just growing up, that's where we always went on Saturday nights. It's just a special place, and it reminds me of my dad. And then, I don't know, they say it builds champions there. I don't know. A lot of people that have been USRA national champions come from our track, so I don't know if our track is a little bit more difficult, and kind of after you've mastered it, you kind of get a better feel for going and traveling and going to other tracks.
Now, other than each other, obviously, who is your guys' biggest supporters for your race?
I'd have to say, for one, would be her mom is probably the biggest one for us, and then I'd say pretty much everybody is our good supporter. We've got so many fans up there that, come down and think it's the coolest thing to see a husband and wife team, race out against each other and do what they can and, just have fun and cut back.
Well, the Fells family.
The Fells family, yeah.
We met the Fells when we bought our house, and it turns out that we bought our house from a guy that used to race, and he was wondering what we were going to do. They have a 3-stall garage, and he was wondering what we were going to do with it, and we're like, well, we're going to fill it with race cars. So that family ended up supporting us. They go to almost every race we've been to this year, and even the nationals. Corey, he helps us pit. Erica helps us pit, and even their kids help out too tremendously, and she also takes pictures for us, and it's just a blast.
Now, I know I used this term with you the other day, Brad, the track daddy term.
Oh, yeah.
Do you still feel as though you're the track daddy, or, you maybe not so much now that you hear it out loud?
I guess hearing it out loud now, maybe not as much. It feels like that. I mean, for us, with our class, thinking of it that way, we got so many people that just, that come up and ask us for help, even when we get new cars that have never raced there. I've got a lot of friends on Facebook that, have showed up and raced with us, and they usually end up parking by us, coming up to us, talking it over, asking, they basically you won't find us anywhere without a group of people. So once you see a group of tuner drivers, we're going to be right there in the mix of that bunch, and I'm kind of thinking, it's nice to have people, that want to have fun and race, and then they do it this way, and they can count on people that have been there or know the area, so it's kind of nice.
All right. Looking at you guys up in the north, obviously, you guys have strong competition. Why would you say, after finishing so high on the national level, did you guys I don't want to say you fell short, I don't want to take away that accomplishment of making that top 10 on your region, but why would you guys feel as though you finished down a little lower than you did on nationals?
It just seems that, with that northern region thing, it just seems that, they kind of let more people, we could have traveled and, a little bit more gone to Webster and May City and Fort Dodge, but it was just real hard with us running so close in points in Decorah. I know at one point where we were like, I think the top 4 were only 10, 12 points out from a 3 to 4-way tie for the points lead. So it just kind of seems that it was a little, unfair that some of, because some of the people were racing Sundays in Mason City, which we could have too, but it was just hard to do, especially with me, trucking on Sundays and her leaving early Monday mornings for work. But it still works out. I mean, we didn't really pay too much attention to the northern region. We just figured, nationals points is where it's really at, so let's just go hard for that.
All right. Next year, you guys are still planning on running in the tuners, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Katie, you feel like you're going to be able to exploit the points a little bit easier next year and maybe finish a little higher or closer to Brad?
I think so. I have been getting consistently better this season. It's probably been my best season yet, so I'm hoping that I can. We always have a joke. We get a jacket when you win points champion, and I keep telling him that one of these years I'm going to take home a jacket and win, so that's my goal for next year.
So, like I said earlier, I just got off the phone with Grayson doing his interview. He said Justin is the track daddy down there for the South. Brad, do you think you can topple Justin next year? You think it could be a battle of the track daddies for the toppling?
It'll be close, but I mean, I think I could possibly come close to them. I know the guys down south, they're real good racers, real clean. We had a blast racing with them down at Nationals, and I know we got a bunch of new, younger kids that are going to be starting to race here this year that are coming out to race. So we're looking at just between our two tracks, hopefully 15 to 20 cars just in the tuner division every single week or every single night. So it'd be kind of nice. Hopefully that maybe it will actually kind of help us out even better and give us a fighting chance.
The unofficial official tuner war, North versus South track daddy battle.
Yeah, I think the North versus South track daddy battle. I mean, me and him could probably. I mean, we're both two very good competitive drivers. So, and I know he's good, and and like I said, he's a good person to race with when we were down there. But I don't know. I mean, I want to do my own horn, but I think I probably could maybe take him, but depending on he gets to race before we do, and yeah, it's just kind of unfair when we don't get to race as soon as they do, so they kind of get a little bit of an advantage.
Now, if there wasn't any kind of issues, Brad, what car class would you love to drive before you hung up your helmet and boots for good?
I'd really like to try hobby stock, or even B-mod wouldn't be bad, because our good friend Troy Hovey, he did it for so many years, and it was he knows quite a bit about that class, and I think it'd be fun to give it a shot. But I'd really like to try hobby stock. Our good friend Dylan Clinton that won nationals this year, and he actually raced tuners for a few years with us, and he went to hobby stock, and I know last year he tried his best and got a couple wins, and this year he's just turned around and he's done really good. So I think hobby would be very, very fun.
And what about you, Katie? Is there a car class out there that you would just love to run?
Yeah, it would be stock car for me, just because my dad used to race it, and because we have a very low stock car count in our area right now. There's usually not more than 10. I think 10 one night we had at Decorah, wasn't it? We were struggling to get 10, so I feel like that would be a good class to be in, just to bring the numbers up and maybe get more people interested in it, because we don't have any female drivers right now in stock car either.
So, if you were able to go and race stock cars, this is obviously your dad very close to you. Would you try to bring back, to the best of your memory of his car, would you try to bring back that paint scheme on a wrap for him in memory of him to race 1 year?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, that's one of my Hornets is a replica of his.
So, I know you guys have these unique wraps that you do. Brad and I talked about it a little bit. He talked about Super Troopers, or what was it, American Dad?
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead. So, Katie, what ideas have you been tossing out there?
I haven't really thought too much about it. Harley Quinn has just really been a good rap for that car and its attitude, so I think I'm going to keep it the same, and then my other car is, we call it the dad car, the legendary. I don't know. I'm really into true crime, so I don't know if USRA would agree with my ideas.
Well, I mean, I think they can't limit you too much. As long as it's relatively PG and not straight R or X, I think you're okay. But if he went with his idea of Super Troopers, would you maybe wrap your car to make it look like the Canadian Mounties?
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
I think that would be very interesting to see. You guys could be the Mounties and the Vermont Mounters.
It's actually a pretty good idea.
Now, again, husband-wife team, that's not something that everybody does together. Obviously holds a good portion in your guys' life and a good strong foundation in your marriage. But what would racing mean to you guys if you had to give up racing? What would your lives be like?
Very boring.
Yeah, very boring.
It's very boring right now.
Yeah, the no racing is it kills us. We look on, Thursday when I get home from off the road and get cars ready to go. We're, by Friday morning, Friday afternoon, we're locked and loaded and ready to race. And now with, race season being over at the time, it's just like it just kind of bores you out a little bit. There's not a whole lot you can honestly do.
So would you like to see somebody say, hey, we know racing season gets boring, maybe run a special where you guys get to try to take your cars out there on the snow one day?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I know we've even wanted to, a couple times talked about going up to they have an ice race up in Wisconsin, and we've talked about getting a couple of cheap beater cars to do that, and I mean it's just something for us to do and kind of just go fast and run into each other.
Now, I asked this question, I think, to so far everybody in the tuner class. There's a game that NASCAR makes that have a road course dirt track on it. If somebody happened to make one of those, would you be up to run that if it was USRA sanctioned as well? Would that be something you would put permanently on the schedule or a one-time and done?
I think a one-time and done for me. It's just, I mean, it sounds fun and everything, but, we're so used to doing the circle track and, the close racing and that. I think, I'd probably try it once and be like, yeah, that was good enough for me, so.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you got the younger generation, so we never know. It could be appealing to them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just the fun things that, there's so much fun activities you can do out there, and especially with the way stuff is, the way the world is right now, and hard to get parks, hard to do anything, so.
Oh, yeah, I can't really afford to have too much of a bad night and crash and beat them up. Now, Katie, Brad told me this, and I don't want you to get mad at him, but he said you like to crash at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it always seems to happen. Disaster finds me.
So you feel as though he may have put a little hex on you, like, I can't let my wife beat you, so she's got to crash this race?
Yeah, I think he kind of plans for it to happen at the beginning of the year. It's like our halfway point seems to always be fair. So after fair night...
You see, because by that time, about halfway, you've already replaced all the cursed parts, and he can't curse it because you're watching him.
Yep.
So, now, again, husband and wife team, it's amazing. You're up there in the north. You're running the tuners. You're representing the tuners very well. Katie, you're actually the first female driver I've actually got to interview, so congratulations to that.
Oh, thank you.
It's always a pleasure to talk with people about dirt track racing. I love the sport. You guys obviously love it. Is there any plans maybe down the road to quit ever racing tuners and go to another class? Or is tuners more than likely going to be where you guys stay or have a permanent place, even running another class?
Yeah, I have plans to I want to try another class. You know, I really want to win just a national championship. But for me, it's, you know, I've come so close, always top 4 everywhere. And, you know, and this year, Katie's really improved and, you know, really stepped her game up a lot this year. She ended up getting 5 feature wins. And, I mean, her first one in West Union, she's been close so many times, but just the fans and everybody up in the stands up there, just that place come unglued. It was pretty much actually like the track won the Super Bowl or something. It just, you could hear them with the car still running. It was crazy.
So, Katie, do you feel like Brad's taught you all the tricks that he can teach you, or do you think he's still got something up his sleeve that, you know, he keeps hidden from you just so that if he ever has to use it, he can go, bet you didn't know that one, did you?
No, I don't think he has anything else to show me.
Whatever. There's tricks. They call me the Magic Man for a reason. And it's shake and bake time.
Little bump and run every now and again, never hurt nobody.
It's funny because, you know, I mean, everyone always, you know, even people that first come to the track and, you know, or the regular people that are at the track that know us, you know, if one of us wins, which, you know, like if I win, Katie will come up and give me the, you know, good job bump at the end. And then, you know, yeah, I do the same with her. And it's just funny because they're like, yeah, we noticed that, you know, every once in a great while, you guys kind of get roughhousey with each other, and we've seen you guys kind of door slap and beat and bang on everybody. And it's like, well, you know, and even when she won this year, our tech guy, you know, he's a really good guy, and he's always joking with us all the time. And as soon as she wins, I look right at him, and I'm like, yeah, she's cheating. I DQ her just because I was behind her so I could get that win.
Well, again, you know, I said this before, I'll say it again, you know, you got to account for the weight, so you got to drop a couple center blocks in there every now and again.
That's right. Oh, she's way too light. You know, it's unfair.
Completely unfair. I'm not ganging up on you, Katie, I promise. We're Switzerland, and all arguments and fights, we're just here to facilitate it.
Yeah, that's right.
So, now, again, next year, you guys are going to run this class again. Brad, you're hoping that you topple Oliver for the championship?
Yeah, like I said, you know, Oliver, there's a reason why he ended up, you know, winning it this year. You know, we've raced with him. He's been to West Union once this year and raced with us, you know, and he's a good driver. And, you know, same with the group out in May City, Max Heimbrook, you know, we raced with him a lot, and he's good. Devin Jones, you know, but, you know, the guys that are around here, they're, you know, just the same as with everyone down south with the days and that, you know, everyone is so competitive and everyone's good, clean driver, and it's fun, you know, and it's just, you know, we just got to kind of hunker down and do a few different things and see if we can't get everything a little bit tightened up where we can actually maybe win some more races,
So if Katie beats you next year in the national championship, are you gonna put a little sticker on the back of your car for the following season that says "I let my wife win so I don't sleep on the couch"?
No, I won't let it happen. You know, everyone always says, our tech guy, he says it a lot. He's like, you could stop, making your wife hit her brakes so much when she's behind you. And then when I'm doing it, it's like, hey, what about me? I had to hit my brakes, this and that. And he's like, oh, it's not the same, and I just, I got to take care of the girls, and this and that. I'm like, this is totally unfair. And I'm like, this isn't right. So then when, I give her the, flip her the ship back, that's just how we do is when, between us two. So I'll make, next year I told her, I'm like, I'll make sure that you're not going to win national points because I'll just borrow your car.
So Katie, next year, is the goal to beat Brad in national points, or are you gonna chase after Oliver's title as well? Because I don't want to give away anybody's secrets, but there may be a driver that's not running tuners that finished up there in the top 5 this year. He may not be running in there, so I'm not gonna say names, but along with that, there is a very young, sensational driver with Grayson, 16 years old. That's amazing. A 16-year-old finished that high up and only his second or third year racing.
Yep.
That speaks to the credibility. Next time you guys see him, you have to bring him a bug juice, though.
He's a really good kid. I got to know him just a little bit, talked to him after the race on Thursday and on Friday, and I mean, we're good friends. That Sean Leisure from down in Texas, he won last year, and I still think he, actually was the king of the tuners. And we joke with him a lot, and he's very good. I mean, he's won a bunch of races, and he's done very good for himself for being a young kid his age.
So now, when I called Oliver today, and I called him the king of the tuners, he didn't like that title though. But do you feel as though right now he is the king of the tuners?
Yeah, I'd say he is, winning the national points. And, I mean, I know they said that, the main USRA show down there for nationals, they said that's, that would be the king. You're the king of the tuners if you win the main event on Friday or Saturday or whichever one it was. And I'm like, well, in 2020, me and Katie went down to Webster and never been there, and I ended up winning that race there, and she drove from 12th to 6th. So, I still think that, he's kind of king of the tuners by when you win that national championship.
So, all right, that gets your guys' take on it. Now, Katie, if you somehow win the national champion, you gonna put a big crown on your car and tell everybody, yes, I'm the queen of the tuners?
Yes.
Even if Brad wins, since you're married, does that technically make you still the queen of the tuners if he's the king of the tuners?
I think so.
So Brad, she's gonna put a crown on her car either way, whether you win it or she wins it.
Yeah.
But she's only gonna let you put a Prince crown on your car if you know.
Yeah, like I said, every year when we get ready for our points races in Decorah and West Union, we both joke, because she's I think this year she finished second in the, right behind me. I won track championship at both Decorah and West Union, and I know Decorah she got fourth, and West Union she got second. And she always says, she goes, well, I want one of them fancy jackets, and I always tell her, I'm like, well, you can always borrow mine. And she's like, it's not the same because it doesn't say my name.
Well, it kind of does.
Yeah, it does. It's got the same last name.
Yeah, you just have to ignore the front part. You did mention going to hobby stock. Obviously, the top 5 drivers up there. You feel it'd be a hard transition to go to hobby stock, and we wouldn't see you up on that national board for a while, or you think
Oh
you'd
yeah,
be?
I don't think I'd be able to finish that high up to my first year. I mean, you look at the top five with Dylan Clinton, like I said, good friends of ours. Gall Branson. He's always been up in the top two. Gall Branson has for years, and he's a legendary hobby stock driver, very good. And we've got some pretty hardcore drivers that are in the hobbies up here in Decorah, West Union. I know our good friend Josh Ludeking and Steve Larson and all them that race, and we park by them and joke with them, and but they're always said, if you ever want, when you do move, they always said they'd give out help for me and Katie if we just went to hobby stock or whichever. So it's kind of nice knowing that how close of friends you got in the racing community that helps you try to get started and try to better yourself.
Well, especially if you can call one of your really good friends the national champion for hobby stock. I mean, I guess that pays dividend there too.
Oh yeah, like I said, he ran tuners with us for a few years, and we really got to know him, and then he's the one that builds my motors and my cars, and helped me for setup ideas down in Wheatland and all over, and anything with cars. And our other good friend that actually races against us, Josh Hills and his brother Jeremy, they race. And you come up here to Northeast Iowa, Decorah, West Union, and we're going to throw all sorts of different types of everything at you in our class. We've got husband, wife, brother and brother, father and son, cousins, another father and son team for next year. You come up here, it's craziness. You're just like, man, it's a family tradition up here.
Family tradition. You can't get mad at each other. Well, I mean, you could, but it's not going to solve anything if you still got to see each other at home.
That's right. It's nice, hanging out with our group. I mean, our friend Josh and Jeremy Hills, we're always helping them, and they're, if I'm out on the road needing something fixed, I can always count on them too. They'll come over and get something, put together for me or fix something. And even when we're not racing, we're hanging out with Josh on the weekends. As a matter of fact, we're going out double dating with him tonight. Haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, so he misses us.
Well, it sounds like it certainly is a great group of friends you guys have, and great camaraderie, obviously great sportsmanship, and as much as it is, even though it helps later down the road, an even better wife and partner, or a better husband and partner.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I thank you guys for your time. Guys, this is going to be where we call our show. Again, this is Brad and Katie Stahl, the king and queen of the tuners of the North.